Hey guys, so we've obviously all just heard the massive announcement from the WAL today, and the arm wrestling world has gone pretty crazy overhearing um, what's been said. So, look, I think I think what I'm feeling is much the same as what everybody is feeling about this whole thing. The World Arm Wrestling League, only 2.5 weeks away from its Vegas championship, have pulled the plug on the event, with probably hundreds of thousands of dollars being spent from the competitor base, from competitors' families as well that were coming to see the event. Not to mention how much money had been spent prior. I know, coming from Australia, look, I wasn't even going to the event. I missed out on the qualification. But I know that from the Australian perspective, like, guys were spending 4 grand. Jordan Davis spent 4 grand. I know flights alone were $2,500 that I looked at for attending myself. Accommodation, not cheap. And this is all being pulled at the last moment. So literally, we don't know where we stand. Look, a lot of us down here in Australia that were planning on going may have travel insurance. Now, whether that travel insurance is going to cover it, we don't know yet. Like, travel insurance, typically, look, they may just turn around and say, look, sorry guys, you've still got the ability to fly there to Vegas. That's all a bit sad that, hey, your event's off, but it's not our problem. And there's no guarantees that travel insurance is going to follow through. And look, I know domestically within the USA, there would be countless people, no doubt, who have just booked flights, just paid for accommodation in a non-refundable sense. So what the WAL have done, what Steve Kaplan has done in pulling that plug, my honest opinion is that, look, I hope Steve does the right thing. Look, I'm not going to jump to any conclusions, but I really hope that we don't start seeing this as being a WAL is just going to burn everybody. Because if the arm wrestlers are burned from this, if no ability to recoup those finances that have been spent is offered to arm wrestlers, it is it. WAL will be dead, gone, good. No one will trust WAL again. I know I certainly won't be trusting WAL in international travel if this is what's going to be typical. Look, if, from what I understand, the House of Blues, there wasn't money to pay for the House of Blues and other expenses to do with this whole thing. If money is always going to be, money is the only reason why this has fallen over. Now, Steve has done so much for the sport. WAL gave arm wrestlers opportunities that we've never seen before, excitement in the sport, it showcased the sport internationally to truly a level that we thought was amazing. And we, as arm wrestlers, I know we had faith and hope that Steve's pockets were big enough that he was going to be able to wear any period of financial hardship for the WAL and hopefully turn it into a financially viable business down the track where we were making money from it, and as a result, the sport became something. But obviously that hasn't happened. Now, where my issue is, and I'm giving Steve and WAL credit, hoping that this is not where it's going to go, but where my issue lies, and I'm sure everybody's issue lies, is the fact that we've pulled the financial rug from under everybody's feet who were coming to this championship. People have spent thousands of dollars, and it's just not acceptable. Like, Steve is a businessman. My honest opinion is that he needed to have had, and the WL needed to have had all their ducks in a row long before this moment today, where they've decided to play. Whether, if contracts weren't signed, if sponsorships weren't yet arranged, if they were in negotiations still, then we shouldn't have been advertising and going ahead with this season at all. I don't think that we should have been promoting as much as we have been, encouraging people to run and organise and travel to qualifiers. People spend so much money in just getting to the qualifiers, let alone to this Vegas event. So I don't know how much money WAL was short of making this event actually happen. If let's say they were $300,000, I don't know, $500,000, whatever it might be. If WAL was $500,000 short of making this event happen, as we were expecting it to, and they weren't able to get the contracts over the line, then I can understand them pulling the pin, because the combined sum of what the arm wrestlers spent is significantly less than that $500,000 loss that Steve would have had to have forked up out of his own pocket to make the event go ahead. But if that $500,000 is now been saved. He's not going to have to spend that $500,000. Steve and the WAL owe those arm wrestlers their money back. Okay, we don't want to go down to class actions. We don't want to see arm wrestlers being bitter towards the WAL. Look, Steve, what you have done in the WAL is tremendous, but you need to make right what has just happened today. You need to be able to give some sort of hope. Every arm wrestler who spent so much money needs to and deserves to have their money totally reimbursed. It is absurd to leave such a large community high and dry like this. So, I'm not going to be vicious here. I'm going to say that I have hope that Steve will do that the WAL will do that, because, and look, it's financially, I understand why you would do that. If there's a $500,000 loss by going ahead with it, if Steve had to be drawing that sort of money out of his own pocket to make the event happen, and he couldn't afford to or didn't want to, fair enough. But the combined sum of how much arm wrestlers have lost now is probably less than that. It's probably somewhere about the $100,000 mark, I'm guessing, that the combined sum of the WAL arm wrestlers have probably spent in this Vegas event in accommodation, travel, time off work, all that sort of stuff. $100,000, probably. Maybe more, I don't know. But obviously, it is less than the overall thing. So Steve, I hope, and WAL, I hope that you guys do the right thing, because if WAL doesn't do the right thing by the arm wrestlers right now, it's never going to operate again. This is the nail in the coffin if the arm wrestlers aren't taken care of right now. Because there is zero chance that a WAL championship in 2018 will have any traction at all. Your integrity has been lost. Not an arm wrestler on the planet will trust the WAL again. Think about the international arm wrestlers. No chance am I putting my eggs in that basket of international trust, based on what has happened today. If you guys don't look after the current crop of people that were traveling to Vegas for this event, it's a devastating thing for the sport overall. So, I mean, I feel for people like Devin Larratt, someone who's championed the sport for 3 or 4 years. He's put what else he was doing in life on hold to become this full-time arm wrestler and representative of the WAL, and he's had that pulled from underneath his feet and left him high and dry. People like Neil Pickup with putting Arm Wars on hold to be able to dedicate energy towards the WAL. Again, huge sacrifices people have made, and I do think it is just such an incredible disservice to the entire arm wrestling community that has championed this cause. And look, it's a big, sad day for arm wrestling as a whole. I know people that have been in the sport for 20, 30 years, a lot of them are saying, I told you so. A lot of them are saying, look, I'm not surprised by this. Arm wrestling leagues come, they go, they make promises, and then they don't live up to them. We as arm wrestlers are a different breed. We are the sport. Whether or not a league comes and goes, arm wrestling will remain. People love gripping up. People love the competition. And whether or not it's going to be for money someday, the one thing that won't change is the current crop of arm wrestlers are not going to put arm wrestling on hold. Okay, the World Arm Wrestling Federation has always been there and been able to be a true test of who's the better arm wrestler. But WAL was a hope for the sport to become commercialized. It was a hope for the sport that we were going to get opportunities to become professional athletes and to be able to be more than we currently have been. It's a very sad day because WAL has taken a significant step backwards now. Can it recover from here? I highly doubt it. I think the only way it can recover is if Steve Kaplan offers basically to basically recoup and pay for everybody's expenses, particularly the flights and accommodation, even on a basic level. To me, that's the bare minimum. If WAL is to have any hope of existing in 2018, everybody who is booked and paid for and can't get refundable tickets needs to be compensated. Without that, all integrity is gone, and no one will support WAL again. I'm confident. Anyway, it is a sad day for the WAL and for arm wrestling as a whole. I know even down here in Australia, even though I wasn't going to be competing at Vegas, I feel gutted for the sport. I feel pretty empty, and I feel tremendously for the Australian arm wrestlers who were on the verge of being able to prove themselves on an international level. I honestly think that there were Australian arm wrestlers coming over that were going to have the ability to win and hold up a hammer. So it's incredibly disappointing from the Australian perspective that has happened. And look, I see it's fantastic. People like Scott Warren and Bill are trying to put together and scramble together an arm wrestling tournament at the last moment. And there's no doubt there are people that have booked these flights that can't get a refund that are going to, I guess, turn up. So there's going to be a bunch of arm wrestlers in Vegas over about a 5-day period that are just going to be chilling and need something to do. So some degree of tournament would be good, but the problem is it's just not the same. It's not the same. It's not what we were promised. It's not what we were promised at all. The glory of holding up a hammer, of being on ESPN, of being legitimate, of prize money that was significant. These are all things that meant a lot to everyone who was going. I feel incredibly sorry for people like Tom Holland, who has trained so much with the goal of a hammer. My encouragement to the Australian arm wrestlers that are going over there anyway, that can't get their tickets refunded, is that even if a tournament doesn't happen, look, I want to ask you, the American arm wrestlers over there, to host these Australian arm wrestlers that are coming, to make sure every Australian arm wrestler, every international arm wrestler gets the opportunity to grip up in a serious sense. I want to see Jordan Davis taking on right arm in particular, taking on the best that America's got. I want to see him against Justin Bishop, Sam Harris, Giannis Mullins. I want to see that. I want to see Danny Tesh's left arm. I want to see that against Todd Hutchings. I want to see that against Nanastad. I don't know if Nanastad's going to still be there, but Todd Hutchings, give Danny Tesh a match, regardless of whether there is a tournament, regardless of whether there is an event at all. Have an official super match in some capacity. Save your arms. Don't get on the table between now and then. Keep resting as though it was going to be a tournament, because it's crazy that people like Danny Tesh have spent so much money getting over there to now have no opportunity to demonstrate to the world how strong he is. People like Big Matt from New Zealand. Mata Hetawara is such a phenomenal athlete that, look, same thing. I don't know if Big Matt's going. If he is, somebody of the caliber of Travis, Dave Chafee, Michael Todd, give Big Matt a super match. He will hang with any one of those three and give it tremendous value. Ben Carroll is no different. Big Ben Carroll from Western Australia and Matt, phenomenal athletes. Like, everyone that was coming from Oceania was going to represent well. I would have been incredibly surprised if Oceania didn't make significant waves, be on the podium multiple times, and bring home one, maybe two hammers as well. So there's nothing else much to say other than it sucks. I'm sorry it's happened for everyone. The mood is obviously going to be low for quite a while. It's going to take a while for everyone to calm down from this. The anger, the disappointment, all of it. But anyway, arm wrestling will live on, as it always has. And who knows, we might have one of the best turnouts in Bulgaria, the World Arm Wrestling Federation titles this year, than we've ever seen before. But Steve Kaplan, please, hope you do the right thing and refund the money of everyone who is travelling to Vegas. All right, cheers guys, stay strong.